Now, Shep, what's going on, my man?
My guy Hess, the real 18. What up, my man?
Doing good, man. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. Glad to have you on. Of course, Bo Pelini coming back to LSU. I started wanting to reach out to some of the former LSU guys, and I know you play for Bo as a young player. You played 14 games in 2007 with us at LSU. Initial thoughts when you hear Bo Pelini's coming back to LSU?
Oh man, I mean, I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more happy. The state of LSU right now. I mean, what a time to be a Tiger, coming off the national championship. And when you do things like that, coordinators, they're going to sprinkle off and get bigger and better jobs, as you saw with Joe Brady with the hire in Carolina, and Coach Aranda in Baylor. And congrats to those guys. But with that comes change. And I don't think anybody could have ever thought or hoped that that change would bring back a guy like Coach Pelini. I remember myself coming out of Georgia. I was pretty much recruited by everyone, but it was just something different. When I took that visit down to LSU, I mean, everybody from you, Hester, to Ali, Tyson, Glenn, Jamarcus, Bo. I mean, when you walked in the locker room, it was a very family atmosphere, and the coaching staff just topped it off for me. When I sat down with Coach Pelini and he described to me his coaching style, the type of players he was looking for, it suited me very well. And I wouldn't. I mean, if I could do it all over again, I would pick to go to LSU again and learn under Coach Pelini my first two seasons.
Now, Kelvin, a lot of people want to know about Coach Pelini and his recruiting style, and I kind of tell them, like, I was an offensive player, and I still respected the hell out of Bo Pelini. He came over to the offense. He would give us advice. We would ask for his advice, and he really was a guy that hovered around the whole team and was a coach for everybody, not just the defensive guys. But your personal relationship with him, not only through recruiting, but when you got to LSU, talk about how you feel about the man Bo Pelini and how y'all kind of gelled off the field as well.
Oh, the makeup of Coach Pelini. I got some stories that I could tell and some that I can't tell on there. That just his makeup as a person, just like you were saying, it didn't matter if you were the All-American Glenn Dorsey or if you were a red shirt guy like me my first year. Coach Pelini respected each and every man. If you came to work and you were accountable, you were a guy he could count on, he would do anything for you. And when I say anything, I've been in his office a couple times my freshman year, and he always reminded me, Shep, it's a transition, because I was heavily recruited. I'm like, why am I not playing, Coach? Why am I not playing? I was very upset, frustrated, and I credit Bo Pelini for getting me through that redshirt season, him explaining it to me, telling me it's not about ability, it's not always about things, it's meshing with learning, with your personality, the relationships of people. And my freshman year, I really got a chance to dive deep into learning and being a student of the game, not just going out there tackling people. And I credit Pelini a lot for my growth as not only a football player, but as a man.
Shep, this is Dan Canterbury here. I was coaching, I coached baseball at LSU, and I was there as an administrator in 2007, got to know Coach Pelini. One thing I know from coaching that the players always respect is when the coach is a straight shooter, he tells you exactly the way it is, and he doesn't pull any punches. And number two is if a coach brings energy and enthusiasm every day to the practice, because everybody gets fired up for games, but if he does it to practice every day, that helps the players get motivated because they know he's not asking them to do anything that he wouldn't do. How can you kind of add to that from a player standpoint, knowing Coach Pelini, how that fits in?
Absolutely, and it goes back to the accountability thing that I spoke on. Just when you walk in that building and you have a guy like Coach Pelini who demands excellence, but like you said, he won't ever demand anything that he don't demand of himself. So you come in that building, Coach Pelini's in that building. I don't care if it's 6 a.m. in the morning, if it's 9:30, 10 p.m. at night after we just had a two-a-day. It did not matter, and his phone is always open. I mean, if I'm a high school recruit, especially a defensive player right now, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an LSU alum and I'm doing a hoorah speech. If I am a high school defensive recruit and defensive player, my eyes are on LSU right now. You have a head coach in Coach Orgeron who has a heavy defensive background with the defensive side. You have Coach Pelini coming in who you could talk to me, you could talk to hundreds of guys about. And you have Corey Raymond in the defensive backfield. I mean, that's pretty much an all-American coaching staff if you're a defensive player. You couldn't ask for more. So if I'm a high school recruit right now, I'm looking at LSU, and with the new addition of Bo Pelini, it's a no-brainer for me.
Catching up with Kevlin Sheppard here on Hanging with Hester, presented by Richards Honda. Shep, I also want to talk about his aggressive nature on the field. And I think of guys like LaRon Landry. I think of guys like Chad Jones, those safeties, Craig Stelz. He had those safeties out there thumping. Now, they would blitz up the middle of the field. They would cover the best receiver. I mean, they would stone the running back. He asked a lot out of his safeties. I'm thinking Jacoby Stevens in this role with Bo Pelini is going to thrive.
Absolutely. Number 3 should be lit up like a Christmas tree right now down there in Baton Rouge.
He might be number 18 by that time.
Hey, he just might be, especially after that hit I saw in the national championship game. But let me tell you, that guy is going to thrive in this scheme because Bo Pelini is a lot different from Dave Aranda. From the outside looking in, of course, I wasn't in those meetings, but it looked like Dave Aranda was more of a gap control. He pretty much based out of an underfront, a very gap sound defense. Pelini is completely different. He's going to find the best 4-down lineman, and he's going to demand that you win the one-on-one and you attack. And with his linebackers, they're going to be allowed to roam and make plays, hit gaps, and that strong safety position is going to be pivotal because he's going to be asked to blitz, he's going to be asked to cover, disguise. So you have to have a lot of range. You have to have a lot of speed to play in his defense. And to be honest, you have to be a dog. You have to have that attacking mindset because his thing is he's going to dictate the game. He's not going to allow the offense to dictate the game for him. And sometimes to the fault, if the guys aren't on this stuff, that can hurt you. But if all 11 guys put the time in, they put the work in, man, this thing could really be something special.
Kelvin Sheppard here with us on Hanging with Hester. Shep, obviously, he's a 4-3 guy. LSU's been running a 3-4 defense. Exactly. Everybody wants to kind of know, what do you think Bo will do? Coach O said this morning it is up to Bo. I see him running multiple fronts. I think you look at your personnel, and Bo's as good as anybody saying, you know what, this is what I have. This is what suits them best. This is what I'm going to do. Do you think he integrates a little bit of 4-3 but also keeps some of that 3-4 principle as well?
Absolutely, because the recruits they're in place right now were recruited to run the 34. So you just can't come in and start asking guys. That's one thing that Coach Pelini will not do. He's not just going to say, this is my system, this is my scheme, this is what we're going to run. I mean, that would be a little idiotic when you have guys, your defensive linemen a little on the heavier side. They're not the quick, explosive guys. So I think if you, like you said, if you implement a multiple scheme and pretty much a 4-3 when you're in under is pretty much the 34. I don't know if people realize that, but the 40 scheme and under is pretty much a 3-4 defense. Right. So I think starting off, I see Coach Pelini pacing out of an under front in the 40, but really nowadays with the shotgun offense, you really don't see base. So I see that nickel package being his aggressive style defense, a lot of blitzing, a lot of multiple coverage, disguising. So those guys, they're going to really have to be students of the game, and if they are, man, it's going to pay off for everybody.
Shep, you mentioned Coach Pelini has that aggressive blitzing style of defense. Do you think with now having, unlike when you played, an explosive offense, that frees Coach Pelini up to really go for it because he knows, hey, if I give up a touchdown, we're going to get it back on offense?
Exactly. Things are completely different at LSU. Back in the days when I was there and we won a national championship, we won that thing behind the guy I'm on the phone with right now, that number 18, running the football, lining up in the eye, running the power, running the toss. Those days are gone. Now, like you said, Coach Pelini can take a risk. He can take a chance. He could send a cornerback when you're not supposed to send him because, hey, if you give up a touchdown, you know what your offense is going to come give you. And, I mean, that just allows everyone to be in unison, to not be uptight, and just allows the guys to go out there and have fun.
Man, Shep, it's been a lot of fun catching up. Kevlin Sheppard has been our guest here on Hanging with Hester. If you missed any of this interview, you can catch it on demand. Shep, I appreciate your time. I mean, you got me fired up. I'm not even like a defensive guy, and I'm ready to sit here and play a little linebacker right now.
Hey, Hester, anytime, man. My phone is always open for you guys.